My wife slept with my cousin, my own blood. The three of us were on our way to finalize the divorce paperwork when everything went dark. One moment, a collision, a screech of tires, and then I woke up on the morning my wife and I had gone to file our marriage license. No arguments, no ultimatums, just clarity. We both knew it was done before it even started. She left with Marcus, headed out to the countryside, chasing a dream. I stayed behind, buried under legal briefs and late nights at the office, building something real. 5 years passed. She became famous. Marcus had the connections, concert bookings, magazine features, screaming fans. She glowed in every photo. And me, I kept my head down at the firm, taking the cases nobody else wanted. Then came the family reunion. She walked in on Marcus's arm, dressed like she'd just stepped off a runway. Every inch of her screamed money, cashmere coat, designer boots, the kind of accessories that cost more than most people's rent. Marcus wasn't far behind. Tailored suit, wedding band catching the light. He moved through the room like a man who'd convinced himself he deserved everything he had. I was already there when they arrived, sitting in the corner with my laptop, finishing up a case file. I'd barely put my headphones down when I heard the room shift. Natalie, oh my God, you look incredible. Marcus, man, heard you've been crushing it overseas. Natalie, my daughter just started violin. She won't stop talking about you. Any chance you could give her a lesson or two? Natalie smiled, that perfectly polished public smile, and leaned into Marcus like they were posing for a magazine cover. Of course, we're family. Just reach out. That opened the floodgates. Compliments flew from every direction. Relatives who hadn't bothered to call in years suddenly couldn't get enough of them. I finally closed my laptop, stretched, and pulled off my headphones. Someone noticed. Wait, Daniel's here? Thought he stopped coming to these things. Natalie's eyes swept the room until they landed on me. A smirk followed almost immediately. Marcus strolled over. That same fake ease he'd always had, voice dripping with condescension. Daniel, wow, didn't even recognize you. You look exhausted, man. That job of yours running you into the ground. The peanut gallery didn't waste a second. Daniel, honestly, law was never going to make you rich. All those hours for what? Nearly 30 and still on your own. That's rough. No wonder you stopped showing up to these things. I looked at Marcus, then at Natalie. Took them both in, really looked. They had the look down perfectly. I'll give them that. I rubbed my temples. Marcus, you done? Step back. That cologne of yours is giving me a headache. His smile cracked. Just for a second. Natalie cut in before he could respond. Daniel, seriously. He's just being polite. Why do you always have to be like this? I kept my voice flat. I've been working all day. I'm tired. I just need a little space. That's it. She didn't like that. Natalie wasn't used to being dismissed. In her mind, I was supposed to be jealous, bitter, secretly longing for the life she was living, not standing here, looking like I genuinely couldn't care less. The food started coming out. Toasts were made. And of course, every single one found a way to circle back to Natalie. There must have been so much competition out there. How did you stand out? Natalie leaned into Marcus, kissed his cheek, and beamed at the table. It was brutal, honestly. But Marcus never stopped believing in me. Without him, I probably would have quit and ended up stuck in some tiny office, going nowhere. She didn't look at me when she said it. She didn't have to. Leaving Daniel for Marcus was the best thing she ever did. Total upgrade. My mother's jaw tightened. I put my hand on hers under the table. Everything's going to be fine, I told her quietly. When Priya gets here, just wait. Just saying her name settled something in my chest. Natalie glanced around the hotel. Gallery art on the walls. Crystal chandeliers overhead. The kind of place that doesn't need a sign to tell you it's expensive. Wait, you booked this place, Daniel? She tilted her head. Does your salary even cover a drink here? Or is the firm doing something shady to afford this? I didn't answer. Just walked out to settle the bill at the front desk. On the way, Priya called. She was running a few minutes late. Told me to keep things smooth. I laughed. Told her she had no idea what she was walking into. When I turned back toward the dining room, Natalie was blocking my path. She looked me over, slow and deliberate, then dropped a thick fold of cash at my feet. Stop pretending, Daniel. Use this. I'm trying to help you. I pushed it back. Keep it. I'm fine. You think I don't know what lawyers like you actually make? She snapped. I told you years ago, quit that dead-end job. It's hard, it's thankless, and the pay isn't worth it. I didn't say a word, just walked past her into the private room. 2 steps in, I walked straight into Marcus. Let's get something straight, Daniel. Stop hovering around Natalie. She's my wife. I see what you're doing with this little dinner. If your life's a mess, that's your problem. Don't use family gatherings to worm your way back into ours. I raised an eyebrow. Noted, I said, and walked away. Once Marcus and Natalie had finished their performance, the attention finally shifted back to where it belonged, my parents. My uncle spoke up first. Kelly, Brian, why the big dinner? What's the occasion? My parents exchanged a look. The kind only 2 people who've been through everything together can share. We've got some good news, my dad started. But before he could finish, the door flew open. Marcus stormed in, face red, eyes locked on me. Daniel, did you destroy Natalie's violin? That instrument is worth $800,000. Natalie came in right behind him, clutching a violin case, and when she opened it, you could see the damage. Cracked wood, broken strings, deep scratches across the body. I actually felt sorry for you, she said, her voice shaking with fury. I tried to help you, and this is how you repay me. I looked at the violin. Look back at her. I never touched it. Check the security cameras. That's all I'm going to say. Marcus wasn't having it. We have security with us everywhere we go, Daniel. The violin was left at the front desk. You're the only one who went out there. It had to be you. The relatives piled on immediately. Daniel, just apologize. They'll let it go. It's not worth it. $800,000. If they make you pay that, you're finished. Just say sorry. Marcus tilted his head, eyes cold as stone. Say sorry, and I'll cut it to $100,000. Final offer. Natalie nodded. Apologize properly, and I'll forgive you. Otherwise, see you in court. I took a slow breath, pressed 2 fingers to my temple. I didn't touch it. I've said that once. Call the police if you want. I'll be the one asking them to pull the footage. The argument pulled in hotel staff. Servers gathered quietly at the door. And then, a pair of arms slipped around my waist from behind. A calm, clear voice cut through everything. Baby, what's going on in here? The scent reached me before anything else. Sandalwood, bergamot, the kind of fragrance that doesn't demand attention. It just commands it. The tension in my shoulders, the knot that had been tightening since Marcus and Natalie walked in, dissolved instantly. I covered her hands with mine. Just a little family drama, I said. Nothing we can't handle. Dead silence. Priya stepped out from behind me and moved to my side, her hand sliding into mine. She was wearing a tailored charcoal suit, the kind of simple, precise elegance that doesn't try. A single emerald pendant at her collarbone. She didn't have Natalie's loud, glittering energy. Priya was the kind of woman who owned a room the moment she entered it, without raising her voice. Natalie's eyes scanned her, top to bottom. For just a split second, I saw it. A flicker of something behind the polished mask. Insecurity. Gone just as fast as it appeared. And who is this? Natalie asked, her voice dripping with mock amusement. Did you hire someone to save face, Daniel? Because she looks a little out of your budget. My father started to rise from his chair. I caught his eye. Shook my head. Let them dig. Priya didn't even blink. A thin, cool smile touched her lips. I'm Priya, Daniel's fiancée. Her eyes moved to the damaged violin in Natalie's hands. And you must be Natalie, his past mistake. I've heard quite a bit about you. Marcus stepped forward, puffing out his chest. Look, lady, I don't care who you are. Your fiancé just destroyed my wife's $800,000 violin. So unless you have a checkbook in that bag, stay out of it. Priya raised an eyebrow. She stepped forward, completely unbothered, and reached toward the violin. May I? She didn't wait for an answer. She ran one finger along the cracked wood near the bridge. Natalie yanked it back. Don't touch it. You'll make it worse. I wouldn't worry, Priya said softly. Her eyes briefly met mine. gleaming with quiet amusement. It's a very impressive replica of a 1715 Stradivarius. The varnish work is beautiful. I'll give whoever made it that. But the scroll carving is slightly asymmetrical, and the purfling is machine-cut. It's a well-crafted contemporary instrument, worth perhaps $12,000. Certainly not 800. Silence. The kind of silence that swallows a room whole. My uncle's mouth opened, then closed. Natalie's face went a deep, furious crimson. You have no idea what you're talking about. Marcus bought it at auction in Vienna. It's authenticated. A bead of sweat appeared at Marcus's temple. She's lying. She's covering for him. I'm calling the police. Call them, I said, crossing my arms. I insist. But before we waste anyone's time, why don't we just look at the cameras? Like I suggested 10 minutes ago. We don't need cameras. My aunt called from the back. You were the only one out there, Daniel. Stop making a scene. And then a voice cut through, smooth, authoritative, final. The servers at the door parted. A man in a pristine tailored suit stepped into the room. Gold name badge. It read, Vance, General Manager. He was holding a tablet. Marcus's face lit up. Perfect. This man vandalized my wife's property in your lobby. I want him held until the authorities arrive. Vance didn't even glance at Marcus. He walked straight past him, past Natalie, stopped in front of Priya and me, and gave a deep, respectful bow. Miss Sterling, Mr. Reeves, I sincerely apologize for the disturbance during your family dinner. We pulled the security footage the moment the commotion began. Natalie's smirk evaporated. Marcus's eyes darted between Vance and Priya, the gears in his head grinding to a stop. Miss Sterling, Marcus repeated, the arrogance in his voice suddenly brittle. Yes, Vance said, turning to face him with the kind of cold professionalism that ends conversations. Miss Priya Sterling, owner of this hotel, CEO of Sterling Hospitality Group. The relatives who had been shouting at me 60 seconds ago were now staring at Priya with wide, terrified eyes. Sterling Hospitality wasn't just a hotel brand. They owned half the commercial real estate in the city. Priya smoothed a non-existent wrinkle from her blazer. Mr. Vance, would you show our guests what happened to their $12,000 violin? Right away, ma'am. He turned the tablet toward the room. The footage was 4K, crystal clear. On screen, Marcus, walking through the lobby, violin case tucked under one arm, phone pressed to his ear, gesticulating wildly, arguing with someone. The case slipped. It hit the marble floor with a silent crack and burst open. The violin tumbled out and skidded across the stone. On screen, Marcus froze, looked around, realized he was alone, then hastily shoved the broken instrument back into the case, wiped his forehead, and walked quickly back toward the dining room. Vance paused the video on Marcus's face. Panicked, guilty, unmistakable. I looked at Marcus. He was pale, mouth opening and closing. Natalie's wide eyes moved from the screen to her husband. Her voice came out in a trembling whisper. You dropped it. You dropped it and blamed him. Babe, I can explain. The latch was broken. It just slipped. I stepped into Marcus's line of sight. You tried to extort $100,000 from me for a mistake you made. In front of my parents. In front of my family. You threatened to sue me. Daniel, man, it was just a misunderstanding. Come on. Extortion isn't a misunderstanding, Marcus, I said. As a lawyer, I can confirm that. My aunt scrambled forward. Daniel, sweetheart, let's not get carried away. We're family. Marcus made a mistake in the heat of the moment. My mother stood up. She'd been quiet the whole time, letting me handle it, but I could see the fury radiating off of her, 5 years of it. She walked over and stood beside me. Where was this family loyalty 10 minutes ago, when you were all calling my son a disappointment? When you were cheering these two on while they tried to humiliate him in front of everyone? The room shrank. People found the floor very interesting. Priya turned to Natalie, who was still clutching the broken replica, looking like she wanted to disappear. You know, Priya said conversationally, when the Harmon Arts Association brought your portfolio to my desk last week, I was on the fence. As the primary board director, I have final say on who headlines the summer gala. They told me you were a rising star, begged me to give you a chance. Natalie's breath caught. You're on the Harmon board? I was going to approve it, Priya continued, as if she hadn't heard. Daniel never once spoke badly of you. To him, you were just a closed chapter. But watching you today, the arrogance, the lies, the way you treat people. She shook her head slowly. The Harmon Association has a strict conduct clause. We don't work with extortionists, or the people who stand beside them. No, please. Natalie's voice cracked. The violin case slipped from her hands and hit the floor with a dull thud. Miss Sterling, please. This was supposed to be my U.S. debut. Marcus's investments are tied up. I need this gig. It's gone, Priya said. Her voice dropped to something quiet and absolute. And if you ever speak to my fiancé or his parents that way again, I will personally ensure you never perform anywhere worth performing. Are we clear? Natalie broke. She sat down on the floor and covered her face. Marcus, meanwhile, was staring at his phone. It was vibrating continuously. He looked up at me, and for the first time all evening, there was no smirk, no swagger, just fear. Daniel. His voice cracked. Pinnacle Legal. You work at Pinnacle? I smiled. It wasn't warm. I don't just work there, Marcus. I made senior partner 2 months ago. The acquisition, he whispered, stumbling back a step. Your firm is representing the buyers on my deal. Exactly. I've been buried in case files all day. Specifically yours. I was reviewing the financial disclosures for your tech startup. The ones where you inflated your user metrics by 300% to secure the buyout. His knees buckled. He grabbed the edge of a chair. I sent the email rejecting the acquisition 20 minutes ago, right before I came out to pay for this dinner. I straightened my jacket. I imagine your investors are calling you right now. Marcus stared at me. The tailored suit, the shiny watch, the 5 years of manufactured success. All of it stripped away, leaving nothing but the con he'd been running all along. A house of cards, and all I'd had to do was breathe on it. I turned to face the room. Every relative, every person who'd called me a disappointment, told me to apologize, told me I should be grateful. Dinner is paid for, I said. Enjoy the food. I gestured for my parents to follow. My father stood, and the look on his face was one I'd carry with me for the rest of my life. Pure, quiet pride. My mother linked her arm through his and walked past the relatives with her head high. Not a word, not a glance. At the door I paused. Look back. Natalie was sitting on the floor beside her broken, fake violin, crying into her hands. Marcus was pacing in a circle, phone to his ear, begging someone on the other end not to hang up. The relatives had turned on each other. The blame game, inevitable, predictable, had already begun. It was exactly the mess they'd earned. 5 years ago, I woke up on the morning of my marriage license and made a choice. I chose to walk away. I chose peace. I chose myself. I let Natalie go chase her reflection in someone else's mirror. I didn't plot. I didn't scheme. I just built. And as we stepped through the hotel doors into the cool night air, Priya leaned her head against my shoulder. Did I overdo it? She murmured. With the whole dismantling their lives in 5 minutes thing? I laughed, pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. No, I said, holding the car door open for her. Your timing was absolutely perfect.